Terracross racing has attracted talented pros from all backgrounds of off-road racing. Why?
Because it's going to be a fist fight with cars.
You're really pushing the vehicle to the limit at every single obstacle. So it's complete mayhem.
One of the baddest forms of racing there is.
We are all racing a spec car. Everybody's got the same equipment, so now it comes down to drivers and a little bit of luck sometimes.
It's pure adrenaline. Basically, I don't even think you breathe the whole time you're out there.
This elite field of pro racers is ready to go. The 2014 Mystic Terracross Championship season begins now. San Diego along the California coast is a Del Mar racetrack and the home to the San Diego Fair. Today we add some horsepower to this annual event for the Mystic Terracross San Diego Fair Walker Evans Arena Challenge. Hello and welcome, I'm Cameron Steele and we are about to introduce the Terracross Championship to the epicenter of off-road racing, Southern California. This is the first race of the series and what a lineup of drivers for this season. Side-by-side racing seems to keep growing, and with drivers like 7-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath and Chad Ragland, who has landed on the Ball 1000 podium multiple times, and legend quad racer Daryl Rath of Rath Racing, the Terracross start grid is stacked with talent. Right now, our Paul Thacker is coming in hot to the arena with Jeremy McGrath.
Oh, wow. Holy smokes, that is amazing. Woo. These things are amazing. So I am here with a new face of our Terracross Championship with 7-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath. Jeremy, Terracross, tell me what you think.
Oh man, it's so awesome. I mean, what grown-up boy just does not want to do this? Terracross is awesome. Having a blast on this track, obviously jumping these cars. I mean, you know, getting to race is just amazing. So
you're no stranger to winning races and championships. Tell me what it's going to take to win on this course.
Well, again, you know, there's 27 guys out here on this little track. So this is like Supercross, Terracross type, you know, with these razors. It's tight racing. It's going to take track position for sure. So you're going to need a good start. I think we have a decent starting pick. You know, there's guys like RJ Anderson here that sit in these things a lot. So for my first time, I'm not expecting a whole lot. I just want to come in under the radar and just have a good time, but put on a good show.
Awesome. Well, good luck and have some fun.
All right, we'll do.
And we are close to showtime. 12 drivers are already locked to the main event. We have 4 spots open through the LCQs, and as we get Paul to the booth, let's hear from some of our drivers about this track.
Definitely the biggest Terracross race we've had so far.
We got the cars going into the arena versus being on an outdoor facility the whole time.
Being inside the arena makes it different. It's a little tighter.
You can see guys flying through the air, side by side, rubbing wheels.
We have racing on slick cement, to sand, to dry slick out in the parking lot.
Huge jumps, no tabletops. They're all gaps. We have to clear every one of these obstacles. So you got to have full commitment. We have an over-under, which means if you don't make it, your race is done.
We got split lines for passing and all kinds of different obstacles, tires, that is going to make for really good racing for the main events.
I'm sure there'll be some carnage, though.
Carnage, we guarantee. The crowd is filling in here in San Diego, and before we go racing, let's get it to the third member of our broadcast team, Lorette Nickel.
As you know, the LCQ is very important. These guys have to run a very smart race because only first and second are going to make it into the main event. We have driver 24, Luke Paul here, who said he is not giving up. He was inspired today, and he is going to make it into the main event. These guys are going to have to push him wide or make clean passes.
Clean passes, pushing wide, chaos, you know, 2 spots remain to get in the main. I think we're going to see a little bit of everything here, Paul.
Yeah, these guys they're going to be after it. We see BC Vaught here. He's actually the manager of Colton Moore, X Games gold medalist. You see the Ride for Caleb Moore sticker there. You know, Wade Moore, his dad, such a racing family. All these guys out there, you know, riding and racing in Caleb's memory.
For sure, and 8 laps of racing is what we're going to have here in both LCQs. 2 drivers are going to advance, and they're going to be going directly into a hard left. And Paul, I have a feeling we're going to see contact right out of the gate as a green flag flies.
Cameron, you can can see the start is so important. I mean, right off the bat, you see these guys coming into this left-hander already bumping and banging. The track is tight, passing's tough. Again, look at them. They're not even, half of them aren't even on the track at the moment.
BC Vaught with the whole shot. He's going to control Wade Moore. Just a little two-wheel action going a little wide there. It's tight confines. When we talk about the track, there's some serious gap jumping going on.
Look at him
right away.
We've got a 70 and a 65-foot gap jump. I mean, these are true gap jumps. You can see the over/under. If you come up short, you're landing on someone else. So these guys are making sure they hit their marks.
And you can see that very slippery concrete section, the show floor. That's done on purpose. That's a part of this racetrack, and you have to negotiate everything that's out there.
Yeah, there's different lines. I mean, you can see these guys coming into the corner. It's like they're on an ice rink right there. I mean, there's lots of guys that are struggling with some of these corners, and you can see guys making passes. The guys that hit their marks are definitely the fastest.
The number 13 is Brandon Sims. He is in qualifying position. The top two will transfer, but BC Vaught right now is holding that top position as he works through that whoop section, mogul section, depending on what you want to call it. And you can see the 13 is Sims working that inside line, trying to protect a little bit as well.
Yeah, you know, he's a veteran now of Terracross, and he's done pretty well the past couple of years. It's good to see him out front in this LCQ.
Well, the development of the side-by-side vehicles, what Polaris has done is absolutely stunning. And, you know, it's a race-ready vehicle right off the showroom floor, and it's proven right here at events like this at Terracross where, I mean, this is solid off-road racing that is fun and challenging, and when you look at the course, this is harder than a lot of other types of off-road racing.
It's incredible what these Polaris Razor 1000s do. And they're not even, it's hard to even say they're a side-by-side. Whoa, we got sliding into each other. They're more like it's like a mini trophy truck. You're no stranger to the trophy trucks.
For sure. Well, that's my full-time job is driving off-road race trucks, and you know, when we talk about things and racing off-road, you got to think about passing and how you're going to set that up. Now, what we should point out here is that Vaught has the lead, Sims in second. They're both in qualifying position. The question is, will Sims push to try to make that pass and get that top spot? It's going to help him with a pick for the starting gate or the starting line, but he doesn't really need to make that pass in these tight confines.
True, but you know, as a racer, the object, regardless of which race you're in, is to win. You can see the two lines, the outside, it's real slick. Inside, if you hit those tires just right, you can see how much faster that inside line is. Sim makes that pass piece of cake.
For sure, he is locked in that front position. Two will transfer. We're in lap 3 of 8 in LCQ number 1. This is how the pass went down on the inside line off the tires. A little bit of risk equals a lot of reward. When we return, we'll find out if Sims can lock this thing down and who will transfer to the main event.
Mystic Lubricants Terracross Championship is being brought to you by Mystic Lubricants, specially formulated for lubrication domination. Visit mysticlubes.com. And by the Polaris Razor XP 1000.
Welcome back to the Mystic Lubricants Terracross Championship. We are in LCQ 1 of 2, and Brandon Sims, the number 13, is checking out, Paul.
Man, he's hitting his marks and looking really, really clean and smooth right now.
Keeping it smooth on the inside line, a large finger to the inside. As he moves along, this will be the last lap of competition, so we will be closing in on the finish. Here we go. One lap to go. Big gaps right down the middle. I think the fans are digging it.
Those gap jumps are there. I mean, I tell you, when the guys were walking the track earlier today, some of them were kind of questioned. That's a big jump.
BC Vaught going to the inside, maybe trying to work a little magic that Sims worked on him earlier, but it's not going to work out at this point right now. Vaught, though, in qualifying position, 2 will transfer as the number 13 works his way through the course. Nice.
Perfect, drifting around that corner. That's money.
There is second, so right now, cleanly in that position, but we do have competitors closing in now. If you are are paying attention, last lap racing is always a good time because that's especially in the LCQ, if there's a chance to dodge underneath someone and make a pass by pushing them out of the way, well, I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah, I don't think, it looks like we've got, BC might be running in two-wheel drive there.
And here we go, checker flag. The Lone Star Racing Polaris, the number 13 of Brandon Sims, owning it. And BC Vaught taking that second and final qualifying position. Sadly for everybody else, they're going to be watching from the stands. And some excitement from Sims as he celebrates. We'll take a look at some of the action, Paul. The start was fun. There's a lot of pushing and shoving right out of the gate.
Any racing, the start's so important. This is no different. You can see those guys banging into each other right off the bat.
Good shot of Vaught and then Sims as Vaught was leading, but it wasn't to stay like that. On the inside line, Sims taking advantage.
Yeah, the guys were questioning that inside tire line. It took a few laps for the guys to get comfortable, but boy, when you stick that inside line, you can see it works, and Sims crushes it. Checkered flag.
And there you have it, to advance. Sims and Vaught, Ives, Moore, Paul, Kirkpatrick, and Dipple all going to be watching from the stands, as we said. Now it's time for the Polaris Power Performer of that race, and of course it looks like it's going to be Brandon Sims.
You know, racing's all about confidence in your ability and confidence in your machine, and obviously Brandon Sims has a ton of confidence in his Polaris RZR and makes that pass stick.
He certainly does, and as he moves off the course with the checker flag, it's given us a little bit of time to catch up with Dana Creech, not only the course designer, but one of the racers here in the next LCQ.
I used to always do freestyle shows on my quad back in the day, but you'd have to have someone build you a jump, and you'd always be sitting telling them how to do it. It's hard to tell someone how you want it in your head, so finally I just taught myself. Now I've been building the courses so I could jump the jumps right. I did it for the freestyle, and then it transferred over to motocross, and then now it's Terracross on the side-by-sides, but it's just awesome to be able to go out and build the jumps right for what we need, you know, because I know what it is. You know, I'm the one feeling it. I just feel it and see my pants. We've just been working our butts off. This has been a really hard time. We had a tight time restraint. We got to load in at 8 o'clock at night, Friday night, and we were doing practice before noon on Saturday morning. So we built this thing overnight, Friday night, and it was a mission. Today's a rough day. Yeah.
Definitely one of the characters here in Terracross. Dana Creech never wants to disappoint. He's going to try to make the main event out of LCQ number 2 when we return. Welcome back to the San Diego Fair, which will see over 1 million guests during the time of the fair. And of course, our Terracross Racing Series is happening here with the Mystic Lubricants Terracross Championship. And the fans are ready to go for LCQ number 2, but some of the racing that we saw earlier was the Pro-Am racing, and these are modified Polaris.
Yeah, these guys, you know, it's run what you brung. These guys race week in and week out. These things are, you know, they're totally tricked out. Their motors are bored out, turbos, they're basically no rules. You can run whatever you want.
Nick Nelson was your winner in the Pro-Am division. And of course, it's always good to win in front of such a large crowd. And right now, as we move forward to LCQ number 2, Lorette was able to catch up with Dana Creech, who is starting on the front row in LCQ number 2.
Dana Creech is a multi-time quad champion, and he's been out here for days building this Terracross course. A lot of people would think that maybe there's an advantage. Is that true?
Possibly a little advantage because I've looked at this track for so many hours out here, but I think mainly we're just helping it, making it better racing for all of us here, because I can see what needs to be changed when I'm out there, and we'll go right out and change it. We'll make it more fair. If the option lanes aren't even, we go out and make it even right away, because we know what we got to change. Thank you.
Dana Creech ready to do some work. Brian Bush also ready. Also Chris Brandt will be in this LCQ. There's Scott McFarland, and Brandt, someone you're familiar with.
Yeah, good friend, the first ever Snowmobile X Games medalist, gold medalist, I should say it, Winter X. Yeah, he's He's notorious for getting upside down on these things, so let's see how he does in LCQ number 2.
We have Brandt mic'd up as well, so we may hear some audio from him during this race, and it's a cleaner start this time around in LCQ number 2 as they start to bunch up in turn 2. This is where it gets really tight as we go on board with Brandt. Some good onboard audio there. Monster Energy sponsor Chris Brandt. We'll see if he can get in one of those top 2 positions. But right now, it's the number 88 of Brian Bush who is controlling this second LCQ. But we have a race on the inside of the 42. Can't hold it together. And unfortunately, Scott McFarland is going to be parked on his side as we will see the yellow flag come out.
Now on board with Dana Creech, built the course doing double duty. You know that this guy wants to qualify for the final.
Oh, big contact with the berm, and looks like he has caused damage. You cannot slide from wide open on the concrete into the dirt embankment and expect your vehicle to live through it, especially with the brakes locked up.
These things are super tough, but yeah, they can only take so much.
And we are going red flag, and that is for the damage to Creech and also to get McFarland back going. That's extensive damage. Taking another look. I mean, side impact, no matter what you're in, is not a good idea, and he's lucky he didn't get flipped up over that
Yeah,
berm.
I'm surprised it actually stayed on 4 wheels. He came in there really hot, could not get the thing to come around, and just all that force right on that front passenger side tire.
And that is the exit, the Shaka from Dana Creech. The number 52 is headed to the shower, so to speak, and he will not be in the main event, and we will re-rack this LCQ and restart him.
Yeah, I'm sure Dana's not stoked, but that's racing.
And we are ready. Green flag is out, and the 88 of Brian Bush will control that first corner, but Chris Brandt trying to make a big push here.
He's coming in, taking that inside corner. Looks like he's going to get the position. He's in a qualifying spot.
2 will advance to the main event, which we'll see just a bit later. All the top drivers at one time. You've heard about Jeremy McGrath, RJ Anderson, a number of other talented racers, all coming up in the main event. Right now, coming up, Chris Brandt trying to go to the inside.
Taking that inside. I mean, there's a big risk on that, but looks like he's going to hit it.
Can he clear the tabletop?
Absolutely
he does. He
perfect.
nails it, and he will take the position. Chris Brandt, the sled rider, doing work in the side-by-side.
Yeah, Chris and I actually talked earlier, and what do you think? Should I try that inside line? He took it, and obviously it worked out for him.
In that same area, we saw Creech have some problems with. Brandt went wide, and the 88 coming in with authority.
Holy smokes.
That's more than side-by-side racing.
Those guys are definitely not holding anything back.
Right now, it's Brandt and Bush in qualifying position. We will wrap up LCQ2 when we return to San Diego. Welcome back to the San Diego Fair. We are at the Mystic Lubricants Terracross Championships San Diego Fair Walker Evans Arena Challenge. And we are getting close to wrapping up LCQ2. It is still the sled rider from Colorado, the Monster-sponsored athlete, Chris Brandt, but we've had a change for second position. This is Rasmussen, who has moved into that spot, and let's check in with Chris Brandt.
Just trying to set up for corners good, guys. Go slow where I can, carry exit speed. That is so slippery. I think I just gotta go slower into that one to make that turn. A little slow on that lap.
And a good analysis from a fellow television commentator. He said exit speed. Paul, there was no exit speed. He was up against the wall.
Yeah, those corners are so slick. These guys are, it's really a challenging part of the track going from, sticky dirt to concrete. It's like ice.
And there's multiple different looks of the dirt too. You can see there's some really tacky loam, and then there's some hard pack, almost blue groove. You get into these big jumps, jumping into the light of the arena, so to speak, as the back of the arena is open. As they get the white flag, we're on the last lap, as it's Brandt and Rasmussen, and they are clear right now. There's no challenge for that second position, so if they just keep it clean, they will take the last 2 of 16 spots for the main event that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, I just can't get over how amazing these things are, these razors, how well they handle this course. Look at the
much better setup by Brandt that time. Last time he was all the way out around the outside, and that was the one we heard from him on.
Right.
He's not talking now because he's focused and nailing that section.
Yeah, it's just a really cool course that the guys have put together here in San Diego. There's just a lot of really different features. It's fun to watch.
For sure, and Brandt has one more turn really, and he is going to head into that checkered flag. So it's Brandt and Rasmussen who are going to be moving on.
And we get the checkered flag. Give the old thumbs up to the crowd.
Chris Brandt, always the showman. Yeah, he's no stranger to that.
Here's Rasmussen getting that last transfer spot to the main. As we take a look back, there was definitely some chaos right away.
This Terracross racing is just, it's gnarly stuff. These guys are going for it all the time.
Sometimes being a little bit conservative will get you to the front. Chris Brandt did a good job being safe and sane in the first part of the race, and that moved him to the front with an aggressive pass on the 88 as Brandt would take control and take that top qualifying position. Brandt with the checkers. Rasmussen will follow him along, and there's a good look at the rider. Well, rider when he's on the sleds, driver when he's in the side-by-side of Chris Brandt. Rasmussen stoked to move on as well, and they're gonna meet guys like Jeremy McGrath and RJ Anderson, who's proven through the Lucas Oil Series to be a champion in pro lights and in side-by-sides, and he took the series by storm 1 year ago, and there he is in the monster hat. Let's find out how he got to that championship last year.
RJ Anderson wins.
He earned it. Yeah, RJ, what an incredible talent. Last year, he was working on an undefeated season until a little bit of bad luck in the last race, but he definitely took the series by storm, no doubt about it.
For sure, this Walker Evans sponsored athlete has a lot of respect from his peers.
RJ, so the guys that beat this year, RJ Anderson, I hate to call RJ Anderson a veteran because he's so young, but the kid's fantastic. He'll be tough as hell to beat.
I think that RJ Anderson is the guy to beat. He won the championship last year, and just watching him, I can't believe how fast he is.
My money's on RJ.
I literally have so much fun when I'm in the seat of a razor. If I ever stop, then maybe I'll hang it up, but that won't be any time in the near future for sure.
A beautiful weekend in San Diego definitely is on tap when you go to the San Diego Fair during the summer. And of course, the fans are having a good time, and you get to see so many different things. And one of the things you're going to get to see is the women's main event.
A little bit of women's racing. There's nothing wrong. These ladies are fast, kid.
Hey, I'm a big supporter of women racers. My wife, Heidi, races trophy trucks in the Score
She's
Series.
faster than you, I think.
Well, that's a lot of rumor. The 5.5 machine is Cindy Hart, and that's Doug Gust riding shotgun with her. They have navigators inside, and Jamie Ward is the 5.25, and she made the pass for the lead. This was a great race.
It really was. These you go back and forth the whole race. There was a half dozen passes made, and they were not holding anything back. It was really fun to watch.
And the 55 would take control once again. That was Cindy Hart. But there was a little bit of drama for sure. Getting him up on 2, and that is Sarah Price, if I'm not mistaken.
That is Sarah Price. Coming from behind, definitely making a push towards the front. Sarah's not quite going to make it happen. Cindy takes the win, but look at him going too wide across that gap jump.
Cindy definitely stoked, taking the checkered flag.
A phenomenal race Cindy Hart put together, and Cindy, there was a lot of pressure all day. Talk to us about that.
There was a lot of pressure. I was told I was going side by side over the jumps, and I did not know that. I was just told to go a little faster into the corners, hold my speed and gas it, brake at the top, brake it into the corners, and keep my lead.
And your co-pilot was the one that was giving you that advice, who is also your boyfriend. Do you listen to Doug's advice?
About 90% of the time I do listen to his advice. If I make a mistake, it's because I didn't listen.
Great job.
Thank you.
Well, for sure, my wife wouldn't listen to me, Paul. I can tell you that right now. And we're locked and loaded. 16 drivers, 16 laps. I'm predicting some chaos and some great racing as we get set here at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And Lorette has caught up with last year's champion, RJ Anderson.
The depth of field out here in Terracross is deep, and the intensity, the competition is heating up. Who do you have to look out for out here?
Man, I got to come out and race Terracross last year and was able to win the championship. And this year in 2014, the competition is just that much stiffer. I mean, Mitch Guthrie Jr., Dana Creech, Jeremy Grath, all real fast guys were out here battling with some of the top guys still from last year. So the competition from last year is back, and we got even more for 2014. So I'm hoping we can just get out front and have a nice, fun battle with these fast guys.
You're looking to defend your title as well.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to try to put the Walker Evans Racing number 37 back on the top and win back-to-back Terracross championships.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, he's got the right start position inside front row. He will lead him from the green. Next to him, the youngster in the UTV Underground Polaris, Mitch Guthrie Jr. And then on the outside of the front row,
legendary ATV racer Doug Gust and his Nielsen Enterprises Polaris RZR. That guy's wicked fast.
Speaking of fast, the guy I've raced against a time or two, this is Chad Ragland, trophy truck racer, inside of row number 2.
Good friend of mine, Colton Moore. This past year's X Games Freestyle Snowmobile gold medalist. He is the man.
From Rath Racing, Daryl Rath in the middle of the second row. And as we take a look at the rest of the field, of course, Jeremy McGrath is back there. We'll see if he can work his way from the third row on the outside. As we get set, here we go, we're racing. And RJ Anderson with a good jump.
Oh, great start, that inside. RJ Anderson is just such an incredible talent with these side-by-sides.
I had the privilege of being his teammate at Stronghold Motorsports in the Lucas Series a couple years ago. What a great kid, but more than that, what a great family. His dad, Randy, part of the, he really drives the behind the scenes, and they work so well together. And a lot of times you see kids and dads argue, fight, yell, and scream. Never once with the Andersons.
Yeah, you can see just sawing on the steering wheel. These guys work so hard. They definitely, fatigue is always a factor when you're 16 laps is a lot of races.
How's that over-under shot right there? Wow. That's the first time we've really seen it on the show. And
oh no!
RJ Anderson has competition. Going to the inside, Doug Gust trying to make a move for the front. And it's not just heavy contact. That was like ramming speed. RJ helped him off the side of the course, but in RJ's defense, he had Doug Gust pushing up that inside, and it looks like a problem for the number 37 Walker Evans Racing Polaris.
That is not how he wanted to start his day. These things are so tough, but they absolutely are not going to take just smashing into each other.
Yellow flag is out, but we continue racing. RJ Anderson looks like he is going to be out. Let's take another look. RJ leaves the door open.
Wow.
Doug Gust comes in and fills it, makes contact, and RJ drives back. Now, he has his wheels turned away from Gus. It doesn't look like he's trying to purposely drive him off the course, but then Gus gets tangled up in the barriers.
You get two racers like that, neither one of those guys want to back down, and well, now you can see the result. Looks like they're both going to be watching the rest of this race.
It definitely looks like RJ's out. We'll see if Gus can get going again, but right now it's the number 33 Baja racer Chad Ragland, who has moved to the front, Mitch Guthrie Jr. is in that second position as we continue racing. The UTV Underground driver, the youngster trying to make his way to the front right now in a podium position, but there's a lot of racing left today.
Man, 16 laps on this tight track is a lot of time to be banging and smashing into concrete barriers and that type of stuff. These guys, you know, you want to go fast, but you also want to take care of your equipment just like any kind of racing.
And you can see a good shot of the 5-point harness and the neck restraint that Guthrie is racing with. Of course, safety first. The cages to protect the drivers. As he works his course, he's got some competition chasing behind him.
And it's amazing, you watch on board here with McGrath, sawing on the steering wheel, just banging back and forth in the cab, that 5-point harness and keeping him in place. These things are, it's just really gnarly stuff.
Yeah, we've seen some risk-taking, I should say, some risky jumps. And I wonder if we'll see people pushing it so hard over that middle section. Taking a look at the Loctite number 2, McGrath, trying to make his way forward. This is Chad Ragland in the 33. And as we go on board with Mitch Guthrie Jr. in the 23. Now they're all kind of, oh, and a mistake it looked like for Guthrie. Went to hit that inside line and went over that berm to the outside line. I don't know if that was intentional.
I'm not sure. It's that corner just is so slick.
And here we go. He's been trying to force this. Thomas
not quite making it stick, but he is right there vying for the lead.
And it looks like Chad trying to be really precise. Thomas in the 44 really trying to push it. Oh! Really pushes over that middle jump. And look at the drift.
Perfect drift around that corner. Boy, that is, if you can do it like that, it's fast.
For sure. And he's not going to get the spot on Ragland.
Guthrie right there in third place. Boy, it's tight.
And look at the setup, Ragland. Sets up, really controls it tight. Great job there by Ragland. Then Thomas, then Guthrie. This is a heated battle here. Of course, leading is Chad Ragland. We'll see if he can hang on to that. Look at this battle for the lead. Oh, and Ragland makes a mistake.
Opens the door and Thomas goes right through it.
Fourth place to number 67. Mystic Lubricants. Oh, sponsor Daryl Rath.
Thomas is getting...
Oh, man.
Wow. He needs to keep that gas pedal down a little off the face of that jump a bit.
Oh, man, that was sketch.
Board with McGrath again in 5th spot. Boy, I tell you, the top 5 guys are all just right there together.
Look at this. Ragland's going to go underneath for the lead again.
Thomas is going to hang on to it. Wow.
Wow. That was risky, diving onto that inside, then changing lanes and still having enough momentum to hit that kicker. Ragland goes to the outside. That's going to cost some position as Guthrie goes by.
Gets him. As you know, these guys, it's the mistakes that are really costing them, and everybody's driving really, really well. The mistakes are just, let guys go by.
That's the way I always drove short courses. Try to let everybody else make mistakes, and you go as fast as you can without missing. Oh,
Daryl
man. Daryl Rath goes for a ride. I think that's going to probably bring out, well, for sure it's going to bring out the caution. We'll see if it brings out the red flag for a restart. But maybe not. As we follow, right now it's Thomas, Guthrie, and Ragland. Jeremy McGrath trying to become more of a factor as he has moved into that 4th position. And I saw the red flag out, so they're going to have to stop.
Wow, that is some intense racing.
That means a restart is coming as they try to right Rath. I believe we'll take another look at this crash, and here we go. What happened?
You know, it looks like he comes in a little hot right there. You can see it looks like he catches the back tires of Ragland there, and it kind of spits him up a little bit higher than he expected. And
a nice pirouette. I give him a 9. Let's go on board.
Oh, look at how violent that is. Wow. And
good presence of mind to keep the hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah. shut the machine off, wait for the boys to come flip you over.
And this is the benefit of a bit of a lighter machine with the Polaris Razor 1000. And we have seen some incredible action. This was earlier in the race, Gus and Anderson, and that's gotten us to where we're at, but it also has taken Anderson out of the racing due to heavy contact. And we're not done with the chaos. Daryl Rath proves that. We'll find out if Mickey Thomas, the newcomer, can be the winner when the checker flag comes out. More Terracross when we return to San Diego. Heartbreaker for last year's champion, RJ Anderson. He will not finish this Terracross main event, and that is going to put him behind in the season points right out of the get-go. You can see his dad looking on, and the crowd is ready for a restart. We had red flag conditions, and right now what we should do is check in with Chris Baran. Think we're going to have another red flag, Chris?
Probably not our last red flag either. Can't really see the flagman right now, so I'm going off.
And we're racing. It's a number 44 who again started in the back row. That's Mickey Thomas, who is leading the pack.
That is impressive from coming from the back row with 16 guys on this tight little track. That's some good driving.
And early when you talked to Jeremy McGrath, he said that you had to be smart enough to get all the way through this thing, and it looks like he is definitely showing what Showtime is all about as he tries to do work. He started back in the pack as well from the third row. And we have a pass for the lead as McGrath is in fourth place, but now the number 23 has moved back to the front of the pack. That's Mitch Guthrie Jr.
The youngster is showing extremely well. I think he's been practicing. Look at how, I mean, that corner is just so crazy. It's so slick. It's like they're, backwoods Minnesota frozen lake type racing.
And Guthrie in that UTV Underground Polaris has that corner dialed. He is setting it up so smooth as we went back on board with Jeremy McGrath. Now, McGrath no stranger to racing. He races not only bikes, but trucks if you're unfamiliar, and of course, Terracross racing as well as McGrath looking to that inside.
He's looking for a podium. He's pushing for sure.
On board with Guthrie Jr., who's leading, Thomas in second, and then, as I said, Chad Ragland, who's a Baja racer, trophy truck driver. He is sitting in the third position from a very famous family when it comes to off-road racing. Of course, his dad, Larry Ragland, a certified legend to say the very least. And talk about the very least, we have a battle on our hands right up front.
Well, I tell you, both of those guys taking that corner so good. That's as good as I've seen anybody. I mean, they're executing perfectly right there.
And you talk about setting up that turn, it's hard because it's getting that drift on. It can get away from you really easy, but just setting that up for that fine inside line. And here's McGrath. He's trying to find a way around the 33 of Ragland. Both of them using those inside lines. So cameras on both vehicles.
We got open doors and all kinds of stuff going on out there right now.
McGrath in that Loctite sponsored number 2. Trying to find a way around Ragland as they go into the inside, the big jumps down the middle. McGrath has looked to that inside line before.
It's really cool watching how these guys set up for the jumps and the corners, locking the brakes up just for a split second as they come in to break it loose and then to drift around. I mean, that's some quality driving skills.
Going for some Pro 4 style action right there, setting the drift, backing it in. That was great presence of mind, great style set up there. And McGrath has made the pass to third over Ragland as we go a little further back in the pack. This is the 796 machine of Hans Ada. And there's another look at McGrath, who is in podium position.
On board with McGrath. I mean, mean, obviously the guy is extremely talented with anything with a motor, and he is showcasing his skills today.
And the one thing I always say, he goes to the inside line. Whoa! That looked like he went super hard there.
It's such a good line if you could dial it. It's so fast, but man, some guys are making it work. Some guys definitely do not.
And the setup there, turning out of the turn to set the turn for the rotation. Those are your first two drivers. We talked about, we'll see if McGrath can catch up to this group.
Yeah, Guthrie and Thomas are both just, they have that section of the track just totally dialed.
10 laps into the 16-lap main event. San Diego Fairgrounds, and quite a venue. Lots of fun. Everybody with a big smile on their face. McGrath trying to work his way through lapped traffic to try to get to that battle for the lead. You know McGrath, I mean, he wants it. Yeah, he wants to get up there, and he'll do what it takes. We'll find out if Jeremy McGrath, a Supercross legend, can get to the front when we return.
Mystic Lubricants Terracross Championship is being brought to you by Mystic Lubricants, specially formulated for lubrication domination. Visit mysticlubes.com. And by the Polaris RZR XP 1000.
We are in our final laps here, and it has been an exciting race to say the very least. The fans are having a good time, and right now, Mitch Guthrie Jr. continues to lead in the UTV Underground, number 23, and he has some breathing room as we have a little more chaos going on.
Looks like McGrath there with the door open, running into plastic barriers, still charging, just typical Showtime style.
Never surrender. Doesn't matter what he's racing. Go, go, go. As we get a good look, Mickey Thomas, the number 44.
I tell you, both of these drivers, Mickey Thomas and Guthrie as well, are just so impressive on the slick spots of the track, how well they're navigating.
Oh, and a problem for McGrath.
Looks like he got his door shut.
Got his door shut. He's got some kind of issue. But hey, if you're going to push it that hard all the way to the end, I mean, you saw him rip his own door off. Anything is possible.
Yeah, these guys, 16 laps is a lot of laps of banging and charging on this track for sure.
Lap 14 right now being completed as they go off the big jump in the middle. Once again, Guthrie in control, looking smooth, and really just calculated.
So good around. I mean, you can see as he drifts around that corner, just absolutely in 100% control in that Polaris.
And they have some great family history with racing, of course. Dad, rock racing in the UTVs at King of the Hammers, which I've been to, is quite an amazing event to say the very least. And Junior here has raced in the karts, so he's been cutting his teeth for some time, even at a young age, and he's got some competition here. This is not over yet.
Thomas is definitely not gonna let this thing go down easy. He's making Guthrie earn it.
Let's check in with Lorette for an update on Jeremy McGrath.
With 2 laps left, Jeremy McGrath's driver's side door popped open. For safety reasons, the Terracross crew pulled him over, shut the door, and when Jeremy McGrath got back on the track, he realized that his machine wasn't running full potential. Race over. Despite that, he said he was having a great time, and Terracross is tough. For his next race, he's zip tying those doors shut.
I'm just amazed at how tough these UTVs are and what they'll go through. And I mean, these guys just keep pounding and pounding, and I'm surprised there's not more issues.
Yep. You see Guthrie right here on his final lap. You know, he's so young and he looks just so solid, really impressive.
Well, he looked very composed on what we've said is the toughest corner on the track. As they go to the outside of the arena, just a couple more corners, as Guthrie goes to the outside carrying some speed. He knows he's got a bit of a gap. I think this is all but done for the youngster. One more turn, and it's checker flag for the number 23 UTV Underground Polaris. Guthrie is going to take the win over Thomas by just over 3 seconds. So a great finish for an unbelievable racing effort. I mean, really well done, spot on, not making any mistakes.
Absolutely. And how about Thomas coming from the back row to finish in the runner-up spot? That's a pretty impressive effort.
Definitely a solid effort. Mitch Guthrie Jr. draws first blood on the season as he takes home the win over Thomas and Vaught. As he gets the checkered flag from our race MC, he will display it proudly as he makes a trip around the arena. It's time now to check out our Mystic Lubrication Domination performance. He got a little help from some bumping and grinding early on, but Mitch Guthrie Jr. made his own pass on the inside to move to the front, and he made it stick as he took the checker flag, and he is our champion today.
Number 23, Mitch Guthrie Jr. How did you do what you just did?
It was definitely a tough race. Track is definitely rough. We got all kinds of tires and big jumps, gaps, and cement, and then a lot of tough competitors. So I was able to pull it off.
What were your thoughts when RJ Anderson went off the track?
I definitely knew that RJ was going to be a really good competitor. He's my teammate with Walker Evans, so it was definitely a good feeling knowing that he was out of the picture. But this UTV Underground, Walker Evans Racing, Polaris RZR definitely worked well.
Great job.
Thank you.
Mitch Guthrie Jr. slams the door on the first win of the season and draws first blood. For Paul Thacker, Lorette Nickel, and our entire crew, I'm Cameron Steele. In association with Echo Entertainment, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.